Welcome to the online masterclass, Skills in Motion, making new skills, upskill, reskill, and deskill core to professional growth. So I know a few of you may be thinking, wait, did she just call us nerds? Absolutely not. NURD Skills is actually an acronym and it represents a proprietary framework and coaching method I created to help individuals and teams take the guesswork out of what skills to build, strengthen, shift, or release. Now, I formally introduced NERD Skills back in 2024 with the intent of closing a major gap in how I believe people develop skills today. Most of us were never taught a clear or personalized way to grow skills with intention. Now, this framework changes everything. It's built around four core quadrants: new skills, upskill, reskill, and deskill. During our time together, I'm going to give you a small glimpse into how the framework and coaching methodology works. There is so much more that goes into it, but for today's session, I'm only providing a small introduction into the foundations. So please do not reproduce, distribute, or adapt any part of it without written consent. Well, let's get started with a quick introduction. Hi, I'm Shelly Addison, the founder of Addison HR Services and creator of NURD Skills, a proprietary framework that helps people grow with clarity and purpose. With a background in human resource, project management, and mergers and acquisition, my primary focus and passion is about building thoughtful structures that enable teams to operate with clarity, precision, and purpose. Outside of work, I'm a proud mom of two and a dog mom to one very energetic dog who is no longer a pup. Okay, well, let's talk through session expectations and objectives. So, in the next 30 minutes, I'll walk you through a portion of the work we do with our clients using the NERD Skills Framework in coaching. You'll get a clear look at how we organize skill development into, again, the four simple but powerful quadrants: new skills, upskill, reskill, and deskill, and how that structure helps our clients grow smarter and grow with purpose. You'll also take part in a live poll, and we'll do some short exercises so that you can leave with a clear action plan for growing your skills walking into 2026. There's no extra materials needed outside of maybe pen and paper. And of course, the biggest thing that I'm going to ask for you during this time is just for your full attention and willingness to grow on purpose. Well, let's get started. When I graduated during the recession, the career path I expected vanished overnight. The roles I ended up taking didn't match my long-term goals, but they became the foundation of my ability to adapt, reflect, and pivot. I was able to extract relevant skills, began reading the job market shifts, and move intentionally into opportunities I wanted next. Now, I want you to think about what I said, and then now think about a time in your career when something finally worked out for you. Maybe you landed a job, you there was a shift that you were able to finally make, or someone took a chance on you. I want you to ask yourself this because I have a hunch. So just go with me on this one. Did it happen because you had a plan or because you just got lucky? You see, I believe most of us grow by accident before we actually grow on purpose. We fall into opportunities. We overperform and hope someone notices. And hey, sometimes they do, but oftentimes they don't. We sometimes zigzag until something sticks. And listen, there's nothing wrong with that because I believe that's often how careers begin. But that's not how we grow our careers. Honestly, if you've answered yes, you've more than likely experienced pieces of what NERD Skills teaches: adaptation, reflection, pivoting, but without the structure to understand it or, most importantly, repeat it. And that's why I've built NERD Skills so that your next step doesn't have to be accidental. It can be intentional. All right, well, let's get started. I like to do like a quick pulse check live poll. So I want to ask, how do you feel about your current skills today? Put a 1 in the chat if you feel safe. Put a 2 in the chat if you're feeling a little unsure. And put a 3 in the chat if you're feeling vulnerable. I'll give you a few seconds. I'm seeing some 2s and 3s come in. And okay, do see a 1. Okay, so I'm going to let you in on a little secret. You ready? Whichever option you choose, safe, unsure, vulnerable, it all makes sense. You see, your response reflects what's happening in your world right now, not your skill capability. With the workplace shifting so fast and tools evolving between the AI and the automation, we're all moving through different seasons. Whether it's a steady season, we might be feeling a little stretch, or even rebuilding due to job changes or layoffs. And most of us, I believe, were never taught how to adjust our skills in real time as things shift. You see, many adults rely on the learning habits that they developed in childhood and more than likely are not intentional about experimenting with new approaches, even when those early learning methodologies stop being effective. That's another reason why I believe NURD Skills is so impactful because it helps you adjust how you learn and build skills as your seasons shift. So, again, your next step isn't based on luck or guessing, it's structured and repeatable. So remember a few slides ago, I was sharing that, hey, I graduated during the recession and the job path that I had envisioned had all but disappeared overnight. Well, I learned quickly that if I wanted to move forward, I couldn't just scan job postings. I had to understand what was happening around me. I had to read the job market. That lesson hasn't changed. If anything, today it matters even more. So let me ask you something. Are you actually reading the job market? And no, not the headlines, not the trending post or the neighborhood chatter. I mean, when was the last time you looked at what was happening in the workforce or the job market and asked yourself whether you needed to adapt, adjust, or pivot? Because here's the landscape that we're now navigating through. Automation is reshaping roles faster than most teams can keep up. Job cuts continue to climb. When I was doing the presentation last year, we were at 1 million roles eliminated, and we're in December, and we've already surpassed over 1 million roles that have been eliminated. We're living in scary times. You've got the AI adoption that is widening the gap between what Better Up calls pilots and passengers. And pilots are the ones that are leaning in and experimenting and using AI to accelerate their work. And passengers, of course, they are the polar opposite, right? There's some apprehension. They're the wait to see what happens. And that puts them in the category of being more likely to fall behind as the workplace evolves and utilizes AI. You also have workers in non-degree roles or even AI exposed roles. They're facing the highest displacement risk. And according to the National Alliance on Mental Health, half of employees are reporting that they're feeling burnt out in the past year because of their job. But I don't want to just riddle everyone with doom and gloom, right? There is lots of good news. And one of the things that I am super excited about is that we are now working in the most diverse workforce in modern labor history. That is awesome. The diversity of generations, it brings new perspectives, new ways of working, and new approaches to navigating change. So, this is why being passive about your development is no longer an option. We cannot navigate a shifting job market without a fixed approach. So, if you're not paying attention to how the market is moving and how you may need to move with it, you're preparing to react. And reacting is the fastest way to get left behind. Don't be a passenger, be a pilot. So just building on that, right? We can't grow, we can't improve what we don't see because we're guessing. And so hard work alone won't save us, especially if it's misaligned. You can't read the job market and then forget to read yourself. Because if you're reading the job market all day long and you don't know how you fit into it, it won't matter. You have to know which skills to build, which gaps to close, which habits or expectations you may need to release in accordance with what's going on in the job market. But most of us don't stop long enough to really look at our own strengths, our patterns, or blind spots, especially when it comes to skill building and skill shedding. That's usually where people miss that window to adapt, right? And then we're left reacting. So it's important for us to, of course, understand the job market, like I was saying on the last slide, but you also have to understand yourself. You have to understand how you learn skills, how you grow your skills, and how your skills respond to change. Because you can't adjust what you've never assessed within yourself. That's also guessworking, and we don't want to do that. So, at first glance, these things might look like great pathways to grow. But if they aren't aligned with how you actually learn skills, they turn into assumptions, not skill growth strategy. Taking random courses because they seem helpful or relying on old experiences to carry you into a new job market, waiting for someone else to tell you what to learn, or staying busy without actually improving anything. One of my favorites is chasing trends, trending skills just in case, or believing that effort alone is enough. These are all common skills acquisition missteps, not because people don't want to grow their skills, but because they're operating off of guesswork. And here's the truth. You can't grow if you're guessing. And that's another reason why I built the NURD Skills. It's to guide your skill growth with structure instead of stress, to help you understand what to build, again, what to strengthen, what to release, so that your decisions aren't driven by reaction or guesswork. And to give you a framework that's repeatable with structure that moves with you as your goals evolve instead of leaving you to navigate all of this again on just maybe sheer luck or guesswork. I truly believe when you understand how you learn and what skills you need to build, you're in such a better position of navigating through the disruption or change that is just going to happen because life definitely lifes. All right, so this is like one of my favorite parts. This is where I get to do a quick introduction to the NURD Skills Framework for intentional growth. Now, before we walk through it, I just want to remind everyone that this is for educational purposes. This is the educational version of the NERD Skills Quadrant. So we'll be doing a quick exercise. In coaching, we go much deeper, but today it's about giving you a starting point. I also want to do that reminder that any material that is shared, it is shared concepts for educational purposes only and may not be reproduced, distributed, or adapted without written permission or consent. So let's get started. So we've got the NERD Skills Framework quadrant exercise that we're going to be going through. And I want to give you a lay of the land. So the top left quadrant, that's where we have our new skills. And this quadrant is all about what's emerging, right? The skills that you don't have yet, but you know will matter. I want you to take out that pen and paper, and I want you to answer this question. Looking into 2026, right? What's one emerging skill that would give you an edge in the next 12 to 18 months? All right. And then we're going to move over to the top right, and that's the upskill quadrant. And that's, of course, where you've got skills that you already have that you want to enhance, you want to elevate, right? So, what is something I do well that I haven't invested in improving yet? All right, and we'll move to the bottom right, and that is reskill. The reskill quadrant is centered around you're thinking about things that you want to adapt, skills you want to adapt as you navigate or shift or change environments. And it could be a job market, or it could be you moving from an individual contributor role to maybe management, right? So with this quadrant, I want you to think about what part of my role or industry is changing and what do I need to learn to stay relevant. And lastly, and this is probably my favorite quadrant. It's the D skill. I feel like people often forget, right? What got me here won't keep me here. There's some things that I have to let go, and that de-skilling is exactly that. That's the letting go of outdated skills, habits, or mindsets, right? So with this quadrant, I want you to ask yourself, what do I need to stop doing so that I can move forward lighter, faster, and with more clarity? Okay, well, I want you to work on this and build it out after this session with the intent of identifying one insight for each quadrant. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? But it's about just giving you a good starting point for you to build out that skill growth plan. And by the end of this exercise, if you work on it more, you'll have four focus points: what to build, what to strengthen, what to adapt, and what to release. Now let's connect the dots. We just did an exercise where once you finalize it, you should walk out with four focus points for skill growth and skill de-shedding or shedding. I want you to now then apply the cost of misalignment, right? So those goals that you have, the skills that you have identified that you want to build, strengthen, adapt, or release, they're powerful goals, but they're also at risk. And I believe the biggest risk isn't lack of motivation. It isn't it being too lofty, but it's misalignment. And misalignment for me happens in two places. It's skill misalignment as well as approach misalignment. So skill misalignment, here's a good example that you can see the cost of skill misalignment, right? So that is when your skills no longer match what the job market demands. And if you're not keeping up or paying attention, the industry is shifting quietly until it's impossible to ignore. It's too late, and your skills are outdated. You know, technology is replacing workflows, right? But you're not keeping up. You're not upskilling. And so now the technology is replacing the workflow that you have come to know and master. Job descriptions are evolving, but your skills, right? You're not going through that nerd skill cycle, skill acquisition cycle. And so while the job descriptions are evolving, your skills are stagnant. And then we've got the new methods outpacing the traditional ones, right? We got to de-skill. We have to let go of old things that are no longer serving purpose, whether that's skills, that could be mindset, that could be habits, and careers just fall behind when skills do not keep up. So you have to constantly go through that nerd skills cycle. However, the approach is important because if your approach is misaligned, Even if you know what you want to grow, what skills to grow, what approach to growth you want, determines whether it actually happens. And I'm going to say that again because it's really important that you understand that. Even if you know what skills you want to grow, the approach, the way you approach your skill growth determines whether it actually happens. You can have the right goals, the right intentions, the right motivation, the right insights. But if your approach is misaligned, if it doesn't match how you learn your your real skill capacity in your current environment, because that matters, or even the pace of change in your environment, even the best plans, the best four skill focus points, they'll stall out. And that's where, you'll become stuck. So we have to be very, very locked in on making sure that our goals align with our approaches. I want to take a deeper dive into that, right? So I believe looking back, right, the past, it provides us with so many clues of how to be successful. And so if we look back at maybe Kodak or Nokia and Blockbuster, right? When we reference those companies, we often focus on the organization. But here's the part that we overlook: their employees, because their employees pay the price too. Many of them were skilled, committed, and I believe high performing, but they were inside businesses that felt dominant, stable, and even untouchable. And when you're in a strong company, it's so easy for you to assume that your role is secure. It's easy to believe that the industry won't shift. It is so easy to miss early signs of disruptions because you're focused on doing your job and doing it well. But the market does not pause because we feel comfortable. That's why you should always read the job market. That's why you should always keep your skills sharp and going through that NURD skills acquisition cycle. And that's why intentional development is not optional, it's protective. Those employees weren't lacking talent. Most simply didn't have the structure or language to understand what was changing or what they needed to do next. And this is exactly why personal adaptability, personal skill development has become the new job security. It's never guaranteed, right, that we're going to stay at a job, but what is guaranteed is the effort that we put in to growing our skills so that we can adapt as the market shifts, right? Um, and this is where the coaching comes in. Self-awareness is critical, but it's only one piece. A coach or accountability partner helps you spot misalignment before it becomes a setback. They help refine your plan so it matches how you learn. They help you stay grounded in what the job market is actually doing. And they also help you to take consistent action. And this is why Nerd Skills matters. Another reason why I created it was to help our clients feel and stay aware, act with intention, and be aligned with the shifts in the environment. Because what you actually need to grow is important, but you have to have the right support. When your skills and your approach are aligned, you're not just reacting to change, you're ready for it. And that's what the NURD Skills Framework does. Our logo is Let's Grow Smarter, Let's Grow on Purpose. And we take that seriously with our clients. Now, before we close, I wanted to give you a quick glimpse into a coaching component that makes a huge difference for our clients. Something simple but powerful. And we love the simple, powerful moments, the aha moments, right? And so, another piece to tie it into the four skill focus areas that you should have come out or you'll be working on to fine tune after this session from the NURD Skills Framework quadrant exercise. I want you to take the insights that you've gathered from that exercise, but I also want you to pair it with you validating with people, and by people I mean a peer, a mentor, a manager, right? I want you to validate these three questions and then tie it into the quadrant exercise that we completed. So you're going to ask 2 to 3 trusted peers, mentors, or managers, what is my biggest strength? Where's my blind spot? And what should I focus on next? Right? And you can share with them, hey, this is my vision, my 4 skill focus, points that I want to drive towards for 2026. Based on this, what is my biggest strength? Where is my blind spots? And what should I focus on next? Because your growth is going to get clearer when you pair that external perspective. And that's kind of where it's hard to do, but this is where our coaching experience comes into play, right? Because you miss the patterns of your own behavior. Often others see emerging strengths that you may take for granted. And of course, blind spots, they show up in places that we don't think to look. So your answers, your previous answers automatically become sharper and more aligned when feedback, trusted feedback is added. After you have those conversations, of course, I want you to go back and sharpen and fine tune your answers. I want you to refine what you wrote. See where shifts need to be made, right? Underline what now feels even more important based on the conversations that you had. And then I want you to turn those insights into intentional movements. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. For those who complete this, send in your responses to me, and I will give you a 30-day skill plan framework, right? A template. I won't do it for you. Um, our team will give you a 30-day skill template so that you can then refine and help build out that 30-day skill plan. And you'll just send it to the email address that is on the bottom of the screen. And our team will send out a 30-day skill template plan for you to then build out based on the recommendations or based on the conversations that you had, the external validations mixed in with your refined skill focus points. Okay, as we close out, I want to leave you with one simple, inspiring message. Your skill growth becomes easier when you stop guessing and you start moving with intention. If you're not ready for coaching just yet, but you do want a clear baseline to work from, the next best step is the NURD Skills Light Assessment. It's a quick, focused way to understand how you learn, where you grow best, and what deserves your attention right now without you feeling overwhelmed. You'll walk away with your learning preferences, the environments and approaches that fit your natural learning style, effective ways to learn and work, a quick look at how you naturally take in information and turn it into action. And you'll also get a glimpse into the nerd persona snapshot, and that's like a preview of the 4 potential personas within your overarching NURD skills persona bucket. There's actually a grander, more detailed test, right, that would actually spit out your specific NURD skills persona. But this is just a quick baseline assessment to jumpstart, right, your skill acquisition growth. For the holidays, right, we are knocking it down 50%. So it's normally $53.95, and it's only $25 for the holidays. The first 10 clients will receive a 20-minute follow-up coaching session. You can scan the QR code And that is it. I want to thank you so much for, spending some time with me. I hope that you've learned something. You're walking away with some tangible, pro tips and ways to bring in your skill growth for 2026. With that, I will leave with our philosophy. Let's grow smarter and let's grow on purpose. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.